Welcome to this BBB Industries segment on steering gearboxes.
Steering gearboxes, sometimes called recirculating gearboxes. They translate the rotational motion of the steering wheel into linear motion at the wheels. They also have a distinct advantage when it comes to steering systems because of their heavy construction and durability.
In this video, we'll take a look at the theory and operation of a steering gearbox, how to service and diagnose a gearbox, and show you step by step on how to remove and replace a steering gearbox on this truck.
And we want you to know everything about steering gearboxes so you can diagnose it and replace yours. We'll also go behind the scenes and we'll speak with BBB Industries steering engineer, Mr. Mark Burkett, and he'll give us some insight on power steering fluids and the importance of maintaining the system.
Well, there's no time to waste, so let's get started.
We have a cutaway of a steering gearbox that Cutaway Creation sent us that'll give us a good look inside. You can see that the steering shaft actually attaches right here to the worm gear. Now the worm gear has a series of spool valves attached to it, and that's going to direct fluid to either side of this ball nut, and that's going to aid in the driver either turning to the right or to the left. We have some ball guides here that aids in the turning of the ball nut on the worm shaft, and the ball guide itself is actually attached to the sector shaft. And the sector shaft is what's going to change that rotational motion of the steering wheel into linear motion down at the tires with the use of our pitman arm.
Now that we have a better understanding on how a power steering gearbox operates, let's go ahead and do a visual inspection on the one on the truck. What you want to look for is for any external leaks, check your frame mounting bolts, and you can use a dial indicator on your sector shaft to check for any in play.
Yeah, and these are usually associated with parallelogram steering systems. You can see the pitman arm here, which is attached to a center link. The center link's attached to the idle arm here, and then it goes all the way to our tie rods. You want to check and make sure for any looseness in the system. You can use a dry park test. You can put the truck on the ground and turn the steering wheel from the left or right, and you're looking for any buckling. You can see buckling either in the parallelogram steering system or the steering gearbox. You'll have to address that issue. You also need to run a power steering flow test. Make sure you got fluid pressure to it so you can turn that wheel to the left or to the right.
It's really important that you service and maintain your power steering system. There's two ways we can do that. We can use a suction gun to remove the fluid from the reservoir, or we can use a power steering flush machine. Very simple to use. Hook it up to a battery source and just come down and hit start and follow the prompts. And remember to always put in fresh fluid when finished.
It's all about the service. You just heard it from Chase. And we have with us from BBB Industries a steering engineer, Mr. Mark Burkett. Mark, I'd like to ask you a few questions. What's the most common failure you find in a power steering system?
Without a doubt, it's contaminated power steering fluid. As much as the pump is the heart of the system, the fluid is the lifeblood of the system. The fluid cleans, cools, lubricates, and conditions the seals in the system. It also helps transmit the hydraulic power to assist in the turning of the vehicle. It's important that you keep your fluid fresh so that you're not changing out more expensive components down the road.
That's for sure. There's so many fluids out there. Can I put any fluid in my system?
Absolutely not. We recommend you always use the manufacturer's recommended fluid for that vehicle.
Why is that?
Manufacturers use specialized fluid, and they're designed, engineered specifically for a vehicle to provide certain aspects to help in the flows and pressures for that vehicle so that it steers like it's supposed to.
And how often should I service it with new fluid?
We recommend every 50,000 miles or anytime you change a component out, you flush and change the fluid. And while you're doing that, it's important to put an inline filter in there or change it if there's already one in there so it keeps the fluid fresh and it operates as it's supposed to.
Thank you. You heard it from the engineer. Keep the system maintained is key.
To remove your steering gearbox, make sure you get the correct instructions. We used our suction gun to remove the fluid from the reservoir. The next thing we need to do is go down and release our lines going down to our steering gearbox, and then pick the truck up, go underneath, and get the remaining bolts. Now that we're under the truck, we need to remove our steering shaft, then our pitman arm, and then our frame mounting bolts.
All right, now that we got the old gearbox out, you can go ahead and replace it with the new steering gearbox. But when you do that, make sure you check your manufacturer specifications and get all your torque settings correct. If you have seals that come in the kit, go ahead and replace them. They go on the power steering lines, and make sure you use the recommended fluid that the manufacturer specifies. Once you do that, you'll be good as new.
Remember, gearboxes are tough and durable, but also heavy, so make sure you use the proper equipment when replacing your gearbox.
Yeah, and don't forget about the maintenance and the service. It's important. You just put a brand new quality gearbox on your vehicle, don't run the metal or debris or the old fluid through it, flush the system. Take it on a test drive, verify the repair, make sure the steering system's in good operating condition and safe to drive. Now, with the proper maintenance and service, these gearboxes will last for a long time.
For more information on troubleshooting tips, log on to bbbbind.com.
Yeah, and on our website, you'll find other helpful troubleshooting videos, free technical service bulletins, a wire diagram database for the entire vehicle, technical tips, and so much more. Remember, BBB Industries products are preferred by the professional installer. Thanks for watching.